Hey guys, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. That's right guys, the FJ Cruiser has 5 doors again. I've got the back door back on, the rear bumper lines up nice, it opens and closes perfectly, it doesn't hit my new wheel wells that I built, so all is well. I've got this trim piece back in here, looking good. I need to find my old backup camera. Maybe I can plug that back in and hook it up on here or something. I do have these gaps on both sides right here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But today I've got a mess I've got to clean up in here. If you remember a long time ago, I cut up this floor in here to make my Atlas transfer case fit. So I've got this big old hole right here, a little hole right here, and then this all opened up as well for my new gear shift assembly. Now on a normal vehicle you would think, oh, holes in the floor, that's terrible, that's bad, you don't want holes in your floor. But let me tell you something, I do want holes in my floor. And let me tell you why. Just to orient you here, this is the gas tank right here. This is the Atlas transfer case right here. This is where you fill the Atlas transfer case with fluid. Now, if I sealed this floor up and welded it shut, in order to fill the Atlas, I would have to pretty much drop the gas tank. That is a major bummer. I've got my breather right here. I've got my shifters right here, accessible, which have adjustment, which could come loose. In this hole up here, I've got the top bolts for the transmission to transfer case that are super easy to get to right now. So there are a lot of things right here that I don't want to lose access to. Now, if I were a really talented sheet metal fabricator, I'm sure that it would be possible to come up with some kind of removable doors for these holes, but I am not a highly talented sheet metal fabricator. So I'm going to come up with something that may end up being temporary, but it's going to work in at least the short term, but it might work in the long term. Oh, and adding to the challenge, I've got these cables for the shifters right here. Let's see. And then the cable shifters up here, they have to go through something. They have to, if I was doing sheet metal, they have to go through sheet metal. And again, that's kind of challenging. So actually what I'm going to use is this multi-use utility mat. It's a rubber mat. It's about 1/4 inch thick. It's super heavy, super high density. It's made in Canada, so you know it's good. Look, they have pictures of truck beds and putting it on ramps for horses to walk on. It's pretty heavy duty stuff. And I've got 30 feet of butyl tape, which is this really gummy kind of tape stuff that I'm going to run along the edges of these holes that the rubber mat will get pushed down onto and seal it up reasonably well. And I'm not worried about a tremendous amount of mud and water coming up here. This is high up, and it's also blocked by the transmission transfer case. And so I'm not too worried about tons of water and mud getting up inside the vehicle at this point. Now, if this were a vehicle that I was daily driving 80 miles an hour down the highway for thousands and thousands of miles, yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about water coming up through there because it would get a constant spray of water, you know, over a several hour period or something like that. And then that might cause a problem. But for my application, I think this is going to be pretty darn good. So I'll get my breather hooked up. Put about 2.5 quarts of liquid gold into the Atlas. And get my shifters set up. Alright guys, now with everything in place, I'm ready to start getting my rubber mats installed here. What I'm going to do is screw them in and then use some large washers to hold them down securely. Before I do that, I got to lay some butyl tape around the edges here to get as good a seal as I can. Now, I understand that it's not going to be perfectly sealed. That's just not the goal, and I'm okay with that. All right, so I've got the butyl tape wrapped around the perimeter of these two lower holes. I'll get to this one in a minute. If you've never seen butyl tape before, it comes in this big roll. It's paper backed, like some wax paper backing, and then the butyl tape itself is kind of like a really thick putty almost. It's not really like a tape at all. So I went double thickness butyl tape along here, and with the rubber pushed up against that, it should seal okay. All right, here's my first attempt at a rubber floor. It actually lays in there really tight. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced. I love it. That's pretty awesome. All right, so I just trimmed this piece out of the rubber, and I stuck it in here, and it's actually sticking really well just to the butyl tape, just like that. So I'll probably just stick 4 screws in this piece, and just let everything laying on top of it hold it down for the most part, because it's staying there pretty well, and it's really sturdy rubber, so I'm really liking it. There we go. And again, I'm totally sold. This is awesome. I think it's great. And to get all that access back, all I got to do is pull these 4 screws out, and I've got total access to the Atlas again. Well, and also the driver's seat, but that's no big deal. Okay, so this spot under the shifters is by far the most complicated, because you can see the shifters under here actually go below the sheet metal, and they move under there, so you can't just wrap a bunch of plastic around them or a bunch of rubber around them. So this place in the vehicle is probably going to be left the most open. I think I'm basically just going to put some rubber from here back so that it's under the main transmission shifter, but ahead of that probably will remain open for now. So that's how that turned out. It is a little bit open under there, but it's gonna be okay. Here's the floor. It's coming back together. It's starting to look like a vehicle again. Remember way back when, if you're a longtime follower, you remember when I cut this plastic in half? That doesn't seem like too big a deal anymore. But we'll get the seat in here, get some trim on here if I can find it, and we're gonna be back in business. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta see if I can get some center console back in there. That would be nice. All right, I've got to be honest. I am actually pretty shocked. I did not expect all of this center console to make it back in. All I lost was a cup holder right here. This circle used to be a cup holder, but everything else is still there. I still even have a cup holder. I'm gonna have a cup holder in this thing, and a little cubby thing, and a little storage thing right here. I mean, that's downright civilized. Some of you may have noticed that I'm missing my parking brake handle, and that's because I'm not going to have one, at least for now. I'm going to go out and experience things without a parking brake, and if I think I need one, I'll figure out how to add that back in. Well, there it is. Turned out pretty dang well. I mean, it almost looks like it did originally, minus some extra sticks sticking out up there, which is a good thing. And in case you didn't know, I do have the passenger side armrest, a coveted FJ Cruiser feature. Just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, the driver's seat is bolted back in there. We got my trim piece here. So to get back down to the floor isn't too tough. You just unbolt the seat, 4 bolts, unsnap this stuff, unbolt the center console real quick, pull back the plastic, and I'm back in business looking at the Atlas. Thanks as always, guys, for clicking on this video and watching it. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that so you can catch new content with me every Monday and Thursday. And we'll see you next time, guys.